Have you ever wondered about the quiet, sometimes hidden behaviors that can subtly begin to shape a person as they grow older? Most of us are not even aware of them. They are not grand, dramatic actions, but rather small, repetitive habits that can, over time, quietly chip away at our dignity, our health, and the very foundation of our most cherished relationships. The truth is, these behaviors are not always obvious, but once you begin to look for them, you will realize how incredibly common they are, like threads weaving into the tapestry of our daily lives. Many of us think of aging only in terms of physical decline, the joints that ache, the memory that falters, the energy that fades. But the real story of aging, the one that holds the most power to impact our later years, often lies in the patterns of behavior that gradually change over time. These shifts can affect how others see you, how deeply you connect with your family and friends, and even how much joy, respect, and independence you hold on to in your daily life. In this video, we are going to talk about 9 behaviors that people can unknowingly slip into as they get older. These are not guesses or casual myths. They are patterns that have been consistently observed by experts and confirmed in the everyday lives of countless families and caregivers. By the end of our conversation, you will be able to recognize whether you or someone you love is falling into any of these traps. And most importantly, what gentle, effective steps you can take to change them. Please stay with me until the end, because the 9th behavior we will discuss may be the most overlooked of all. And yet, it has the greatest impact on how gracefully and fully you age. Once you understand these 9 points, you will have a clearer idea of what to watch out for and how to keep your later years filled with strength, respect, and deep, meaningful connection. My name is Allie, and welcome to the Silver and Smart channel, where we believe that every stage of life holds its own unique beauty and purpose. If you find this conversation helpful, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. It's a simple way to make sure you never miss another video designed to help you live your most vibrant life. The 9 behaviors to guard against as we age. 1. The quiet decline of personal hygiene. One of the first and most subtle behaviors that often slips into daily life with age is a quiet decline in personal hygiene. This is not simply a matter of appearance, it is a fundamental aspect of health, confidence, and the way we are perceived by others. Studies have shown that as people get older, they may bathe less frequently, pay less attention to grooming, or neglect their dental care without even being aware of the change. These are not grand, sudden shifts, but rather small, gradual changes that accumulate over time. When repeated, they can affect not only how fresh and clean you feel, but also your risk of infections, skin problems, and even social isolation. Think about 2 women, Eleanor and Sylvia, both in their late 70s. Eleanor still makes it a point to shower regularly, brushes her hair neatly each morning, and keeps up with her regular dental visits. She feels good about herself, and others notice her vitality and her polished presence. Sylvia, however, has quietly begun skipping showers, wearing the same clothes for days, and dismissing her oral care routine as unimportant. Over time, her family and friends noticed the change, and it subtly affected how comfortable others felt around her. What Sylvia saw as a minor detail was actually sending signals about her overall well-being, her mental health, and even her independence. This decline doesn't happen because older adults stop caring. It happens because energy levels wane, mobility becomes more difficult, or even a fading sense of smell makes it harder to notice certain things. Sometimes an underlying sadness or a health struggle can play a role. But when hygiene begins to slide, it does more than affect the body. It impacts dignity, confidence, and the way people treat you. Poor hygiene can be linked to depression, a reduced appetite, and a greater chance of illness. The good news, the truly hopeful news, is that awareness can reverse this pattern. Simple steps like setting a regular routine for bathing at a comfortable time of day, laying out clean clothes the night before, or asking for light support from a family member can make a world of difference. Small tools like grab bars in the bathroom or easy-to-use grooming aids can make hygiene feel less like a heavy burden and more like a simple act of self-care.
2. Interrupting and dominating conversations. Another behavior that often becomes more noticeable with age is the tendency to interrupt or subtly dominate conversations. Many seniors do not realize they are doing it, but it can leave others feeling unheard or dismissed, as if their words are not as valuable. Communication experts note that as people get older, their mental processing speed sometimes slows down, making it harder to hold back a thought before it slips away. The result is that older adults may cut in more often, not out of rudeness, but out of a deep desire to stay engaged and to contribute to the dialogue before their thought vanishes. Consider two men, Leonard and Marcus, both in their early 80s. Leonard listens with profound patience, waits for others to finish their sentences, and then responds thoughtfully, drawing from his vast well of life experience. People genuinely enjoy talking with him because they feel respected and truly heard. Marcus, however, often cuts in when his children or friends are speaking, finishing their thoughts or steering the conversation back to his own stories and experiences. He does not mean to offend, but over time those around him begin to share less, feeling that their words are not valued. This habit may seem harmless, but it can quietly and powerfully erode relationships. Frequent interruptions can make children, friends, or even caregivers less likely to open up. For the older adult, that means fewer meaningful connections and a deepening sense of loneliness. Over time, this pattern of cutting in can become one of the very reasons relationships grow distant. The encouraging part is that this behavior can be managed. It is a skill that can be relearned. Practicing simple pauses, counting to 3 after someone finishes speaking, taking a deep breath before responding, or even making a mental note of a thought to share later can help keep conversations balanced and respectful. These small, mindful efforts signal respect and make others eager to continue talking with you. So ask yourself, do people around you look frustrated or stop speaking when you talk? Do you often feel the need to jump in before you forget your point? If so, it may be time to slow down and give more space to the people who care about you. Listening more does not mean losing your voice. It means gaining stronger, warmer, and more profound bonds with the people you care about. 3. The habit of excessive complaining. One of the most common behaviors that can grow stronger with age is the habit of excessive complaining. At first, it may start with sharing genuine aches, pains, or frustrations about daily inconveniences. But when it becomes a constant, all-encompassing presence, it can wear on relationships and create a negative, draining atmosphere for everyone involved. Researchers in psychology have found that frequent complaining not only lowers the mood for those around you, it also reinforces negativity in your own brain, making your problems feel heavier and more unbearable than they really are. Take two friends, Victoria and Eleanor, both in their 70s. Victoria acknowledges her health issues and daily frustrations, but she keeps her conversations balanced, finding joy in talking about her garden, her grandchildren, or a good book she recently read. People enjoy her company because she leaves them feeling lighter and more hopeful. Eleanor, however, turns nearly every conversation into a list of complaints. Her back pain, her doctor visits, her disappointment in the news, the weather. After a while, her friends hesitate to call, and family members keep their visits short, not because they do not love her, but because the constant wave of negativity becomes draining and difficult to bear. This behavior often sneaks in because older adults genuinely deal with more discomfort and change than younger people. Talking about our struggles is a natural human need, but when it overshadows everything else, it slowly pushes people away. Constant complaining also affects physical health, as stress hormones rise and sleep quality suffers. In many cases, it can become a vicious cycle. Loneliness leads to more complaining, and more complaining leads to greater loneliness. The hopeful side is that change begins with a single moment of awareness.
setting limits on how long you allow yourself to dwell on problems, keeping a simple gratitude journal, or simply pausing to mention one positive thing during a conversation can gradually shift the entire tone of your interactions. Even sharing solutions instead of only frustrations can help others feel engaged rather than drained. So ask yourself, do people seem to change the subject when you talk? Do conversations often end with you feeling more frustrated than before? If so, it may be a signal that complaining has taken too big a role in your life. By replacing a few complaints with a single moment of appreciation, you not only lift your own spirits, but also keep your relationships stronger, warmer, and more resilient.
4. The deep resistance to change. Another behavior that quietly increases with age is a profound resistance to change. Many older adults do not notice how often they reject new ideas, new technologies, or even small adjustments in their daily routines. This resistance usually comes from a deep-seated desire for comfort and familiarity, a lifetime of doing things a certain way. But when it turns into a rigid pattern, it can create a great deal of tension with family and a growing distance from the world around you. Psychologists often remind us that flexibility is not just a trait of the young, it is a profound sign of mental resilience at any age. Think about two men, Arthur and Vincent, both in their early 70s. Arthur stays open-minded, learning how to use a smartphone to stay in touch with his grandchildren and trying new foods when invited to a friend's house. He may not love every change, but he adapts and keeps moving forward. As a result, his world expands. Vincent, on the other hand, refuses to touch anything new. He rejects online banking, avoids medical advice that suggests new treatments, and dismisses the changes happening in his community as unnecessary and foolish. Over time, Vincent's world shrinks and he feels more disconnected, while Arthur remains engaged and independent. This behavior may feel like a form of self-protection, but in reality, it severely limits growth and often increases frustration. When you resist change too strongly, you risk losing valuable chances to stay connected, to learn something new, or to maintain your independence. Avoiding all change can even impact your health, since new medical practices, exercises, or foods that could help are dismissed too quickly. The positive news is that even the smallest steps toward flexibility can restore your confidence. Trying a new recipe, asking a grandchild to show you a single phone feature, or saying yes to a different walking route can spark a sense of adventure and keep the brain active and adaptable. Neuroscience shows that openness to change strengthens mental pathways and can even reduce the risk of cognitive decline. Ask yourself, when was the last time you tried something completely new? Do you catch yourself saying, "I can't," or "I won't," before even considering it? If so, it may be time to soften that edge and give change a chance. Accepting small shifts does not mean giving up control. It means keeping your life rich, connected, and resilient. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment wisdom below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. 5. The slow loss of patience. As the years go by, another behavior that often slips into daily life is a shorter supply of patience. Many older adults do not notice how quickly they become irritated with small frustrations, whether it's waiting in line, dealing with a new piece of technology, or interacting with younger people who move at a different pace. What once might have been brushed off as a minor annoyance can suddenly feel unbearable. This change is often linked to shifts in energy, health, or a reduced tolerance for discomfort. But when it becomes frequent, it can strain relationships and create unnecessary stress for everyone. Consider two women, Ruth and Caroline, both in their 70s. Ruth has learned to manage her reactions, taking a deep breath when something doesn't go her way and reminding herself that some things are not worth the emotional energy. Her children appreciate her calm and her friends enjoy her peaceful company. Caroline, on the other hand, finds herself snapping at store clerks, scolding her grandchildren for small mistakes, or showing visible frustration when she cannot figure out a remote control. She does not mean to be unkind, but the repeated impatience creates a palpable distance, and others slowly feel less comfortable around her. This pattern may feel like a natural part of aging, but it often hides deeper issues. Pain, fatigue, or even memory changes can reduce tolerance, making small problems feel larger and more frustrating. The danger is that unchecked impatience raises stress hormones, harms relationships, and can leave an older adult feeling isolated, misunderstood, or even ashamed after an outburst. The good news is that patience is a skill that can be strengthened even later in life. Practicing mindfulness, pausing before responding, or simply naming the feeling out loud, "I feel frustrated right now," can interrupt the cycle. Building more rest into the day, asking for help instead of struggling alone, and lowering expectations for perfection can ease the pressure. Ask yourself, when do you notice people around you going quiet after you react strongly? Do you often feel regret after snapping at someone? If so, it may be a sign that impatience has taken root more than you realized. Choosing patience not only lowers your own stress, but also draws others closer, giving you more peace and connection in your later years.
6. An unbalanced focus on the past. Another behavior that becomes more common with age is the tendency to focus conversations almost entirely on the past. Reminiscing is natural and can be a beautiful source of joy and connection. But when older adults spend most of their interactions reliving old memories, it can create a distance from the present and make others feel less connected to them. Researchers in aging psychology note that an unbalanced focus on the past sometimes signals a quiet loneliness, boredom, or even early cognitive decline. Imagine two men, Oliver and Patrick, both in their late 70s. Oliver enjoys sharing stories from his youth and his career, but he makes sure to ask his grandchildren about school, listen to his friends' current struggles, and stay involved in what is happening now. His conversations feel fresh and balanced. Patrick, however, repeats the same stories about his military service or his early job days nearly every time people visit. While these memories are deeply meaningful to him, his family begins to tune out, feeling that he no longer engages with their lives or the world around him. This habit can unintentionally push people away when every conversation circles back to "back in my day." Younger generations may lose patience, and even close friends may feel that the dialogue has become one-sided. Over time, this constant return to the past can deepen isolation and make the older adult feel even more left behind. The hopeful truth is that memories are best enjoyed when balanced with the deep curiosity about the present. Asking loved ones about their experiences, showing interest in new events, and trying to connect past lessons with today's challenges can make storytelling valuable rather than repetitive. It is not about giving up cherished memories, but about weaving them into a living conversation that bridges the past and the present. Ask yourself, do people around you seem to drift away or change the subject when you start telling another old story? Have you noticed yourself repeating the same tale more often than you realized? If so, it might be time to bring more balance into your conversations. Sharing your past, it is powerful, but engaging with the present keeps you truly connected and respected. 7. Neglecting posture and body language. One behavior that many seniors overlook is the gradual neglect of posture and body language. Standing tall and moving with purpose does more than affect appearance. It sends powerful signals about confidence, vitality, and even overall health. Studies have shown that a hunched back, slouching shoulders, shuffling steps, or closed-off gestures are not just signs of aging. They can reflect weakening muscles, reduced circulation, and declining energy. When posture changes, others may see you as frail, even before you feel that way yourself. Consider two women, Margot and Penelope, both in their early 80s. Margot practices light stretching every morning, walks with her head up, and keeps her shoulders back. She looks steady and capable, and people respond to her with respect. Penelope, however, has fallen into the habit of shuffling with her head down, shoulders rounded, and arms crossed tightly. She does not notice how her body language makes her appear tired and withdrawn, but her family and neighbors treat her differently, often offering unnecessary help or avoiding long conversations. This silent change can affect more than just social interactions. Poor posture puts pressure on the spine, weakens your sense of balance, and can even interfere with breathing. Over time, it can make walking harder, raise the risk of falls, and contribute to feelings of fatigue. Body language also impacts mood. Research shows that standing tall can improve confidence, while slouching reinforces negative emotions. The encouraging news is that posture can be retrained. Simple daily practices like standing against a wall to align your back, strengthening core muscles, or taking short but steady walks can improve the way you carry yourself. Paying attention to gestures such as making eye contact and keeping your arms open instead of folded can shift how others see and respond to you. Ask yourself, do you find yourself looking down more often than looking up? Do people comment on your slow or shuffling walk? If so, it may be a sign that your posture and body language need more attention. Carrying yourself with strength is not just about how you look, it's about how you live and how much independence and confidence you preserve in your later years.
8. Financial stubbornness. Another behavior that tends to grow stronger with age is financial stubbornness. Many seniors become set in their ways about money, refusing to adapt their saving, spending, or gifting habits even when circumstances around them change. This often comes from a lifetime of discipline and pride in managing finances. But when flexibility is lost, it can create conflict with family and even harm a person's long-term security. Economists and gerontologists note that older adults who resist financial adjustments may overlook crucial opportunities for stability or fail to protect themselves from modern risks. Think about two men, Harold and Richard, both in their mid-70s. Harold reviews his budget regularly, talks openly with his daughter about rising medical costs, and accepts advice about safer investments. He maintains control, but adapts wisely to new realities. Richard, however, insists on handling everything the same way he did decades ago. He refuses to consider updated financial tools, dismisses his son's concerns about rising expenses, and gives away money impulsively to relatives despite his own health needs. Richard believes he is being strong and independent, but in truth, his rigid habits place him at greater risk. This kind of stubbornness is not only about dollars and cents. It often represents a person's identity. Money becomes a symbol of control, dignity, or past success. Yet when older adults resist adjusting to new costs, new family needs, or modern protections, they may unintentionally weaken their independence instead of protecting it. Over time, financial stress can also create deep tension in relationships, leading to arguments, secrecy, or a loss of trust. The hopeful truth is that small steps toward openness can make all the difference. Talking with a trusted family member, setting up automatic bill payments, or simply reviewing spending once a month with fresh eyes can help keep finances balanced without losing a sense of control. It is not about giving up authority, but about ensuring security for the years ahead. Ask yourself, do you find it hard to listen when someone suggests a change in how you handle money? Have you noticed yourself dismissing advice without really considering it? If so, it may be a sign that financial stubbornness has taken root. True independence comes not from clinging to old ways, but from adapting wisely so you can remain strong, respected, and secure in every season of life. 9. The gradual withdrawal from social connections. One of the most damaging behaviors that quietly creeps in with age is the gradual withdrawal from social connections. At first, it may seem harmless to spend more time alone, skipping a gathering here or there. But over time, isolation can become a heavy burden on both the body and the mind. Studies consistently show that loneliness in older adults is tied to higher risks of depression, heart disease, memory decline, and even early mortality. Staying connected is not just a matter of emotional comfort. It is directly linked to how long and how well you live. Think about two women, Janice and Eliza, both in their late 70s. Janice makes a consistent effort to call her friends each week, attends a small community group, and enjoys dinners with her family. Even when life gets busy, she finds small ways to stay engaged. Eliza, on the other hand, has slowly stopped reaching out. She declines invitations, avoids phone calls, and tells herself that people are simply too busy. As the months pass, she feels more alone, and her energy and mood decline. What started as a preference for quiet has quietly become isolation, taking a serious toll on her health and happiness. This withdrawal often happens without awareness. Health challenges, hearing difficulties, or the loss of friends can make socializing feel harder, so retreat feels easier. But the cost is high. Without connection, the mind becomes less sharp, stress rises, and the joy of shared experiences fades away. Family members may want to help, but if an older adult does not reach back, the bridges of connection begin to weaken. The hopeful part is that rebuilding connection does not require grand gestures. Even small efforts like sending a short message, inviting a neighbor for tea, or joining a group centered on a favorite hobby can spark warmth and restore a sense of belonging. Human beings thrive on connection at every age, and those relationships become even more vital in later years. Ask yourself, have you noticed yourself saying no more often than yes to invitations? Do days pass without meaningful conversations? If so, it may be time to take one small step back toward connection, because the bonds you nurture today will not only bring you joy, they may add years of strength, dignity, and life itself. Now that you know these 9 behaviors, take a moment to reflect on where you or a loved one stands. Have you noticed yourself slipping into patterns of neglecting hygiene, interrupting conversations, or focusing too much on complaints? Do you find yourself resisting change, losing patience, or retelling the past instead of engaging with the present? Have you been letting your posture slide, holding too tightly to old financial habits, or withdrawing from the people who matter most? These are not just random habits. They are profound signals of how gracefully and strongly you are moving through the later chapters of life. The good news is that none of these behaviors are set in stone. Each one can be improved with awareness and small, steady steps. You can create a routine to keep up with hygiene. You can learn to pause before speaking. You can shift complaints into gratitude. You can open yourself to change and build patience through breathing and rest. You can balance the stories of your past with a deep curiosity about today. You can stand tall with stronger posture. You can adjust your money habits with wisdom. And you can reconnect with friends and family in simple but powerful ways. Remember, the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be aware, because awareness gives you the power to choose differently. You have the profound ability to remain vibrant, respected, and deeply connected no matter your age. I would love to hear from you. In the comments below, share which of these 9 behaviors you believe is the most difficult to change and why. Your honest thoughts and experiences are a gift to this community. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Your support helps us continue creating good content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.